dear friends here get a seat. How are you, darling? I've got to get a pair of those overalls. Yeah, and I love the color. Okay, class. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Interfaith Community Sanctuary. I wanted to let you all know you are sitting in the oldest wooden structure house of worship that's been in continuing use in Seattle. It's like way over 100 years old now. And imbued in it and imbued in, the wood and the love throughout the generations and that and the devotion throughout the generations is the spirit of all the people here who, gone before us, including Native Americans, because this church was built on sacred land. And so I want to welcome you all. Our guest speaker today is Avalon, and Avalon is wonderful. I'm going to read the biography here because they say it so much better than I could. Cue the blush. Yeah, cue the blush. So I need to put on my second set of eyes. Hold on just a second. I find as I get older, my arms have gotten shorter. Avalon Gallien is co-founder and representative of the Wings of the Message Center in Seattle, affiliated with the Inayatiya Sufi order. She's been a student of Sufism for almost 50 years, also holds the concentrations of Shafayat in the Healing Order, Charaga in the Universal Worship, and is a retreat guide. Before her retirement 2 years ago, Avalon worked as a medical social worker in hospice for many years. You're going to find today that you're up to your neck in charags and charagas. So,
I'll be careful.
yeah, right, yeah. Not you. But in any event, so at this point, I would like to welcome my dear brother George to come on up and do welcome in our ancestors.
Let there be power. Good morning. So this is our place, as you well know by now, that we do every Sunday. We begin with a couple of routine rituals. Routine in the sense that we do them all the time, but not routine in the sense that they should be taken for granted or just being done by rote. So we start with inviting in our ancestors. And this is an opportunity to bring someone's into your awareness that contributes to your spiritual path, some spiritual companion that you would like to have be a part of our service this morning. And as this year is one where we're accentuating the contemplative side of our worship, I'm going to ask that we do something together. I've done this before for some of you who are familiar with that. And that is if you would close your eyes and make an effort to bring someone clearly into your awareness, someone who brings you strength, someone who brings you inspiration, someone who brings you guidance, whatever it is, and welcome them in to our service this morning. And so I'll be quiet right now as you try to bring them in clearly to your consciousness, into your awareness. Make them palpable, make them vivid in your awareness. See what they are wearing. Thank you, and welcome to all. Another one of our traditions is to honor our first peoples. And as Rich mentioned, this lovely sanctuary is built on sacred ground. This was, as most of you know right now, I'm saying this, I'm preaching to the choir here, but this is the traditional home of the Coast Salish people. And one of those tribes among the Coast Salish were the Duwamish, who, as we know, the Duwamish River is named for. And even though the city of Seattle is one of the few major cities named after an Indian chief, Chief Seattle is a mispronunciation of his name, but that's what we call Seattle. Despite the fact that the city is named after Chief Seattle, the Duwamish people have not been recognized by the federal government as a tribe, which is kind of a sad thing. At any rate, we have an opportunity to support them. We can go online to www.realrent.com or .org. Realrent.org. I should know this by now, you would think. But anyway, there's a chance to first of all, get to know what their situation is without my kind of edifying. And secondly, to give a contribution to their cause. All right, with that, I thank you.
Thank you, George. You did good. Now we're going to have our dear sister, Fatah. Another tradition that we do here is we honor the divine feminine. And one thing you'll find, we're rather democratic a lot here. We all, generally you never know when you walk through the door what assignment you're going to get, and Fatah, this service drew this straw, but it's for all of us, it's an honor to serve. So without further ado,
Good morning. I attempted to light the divine feminine candle, but we need a new candle in there. But the attempt is good, right? So we'll go with that. All right. I have a book here. It's called Divine Mother by Yvonne Delafleur. And I'm going to read a passage from it. It's called All My Paths. In these times of apparent chaos, divine feminine, I pray to thee, to choose at all given times the higher intent for all beings. Sweetest divine lover of the one, to thee I pray for wisdom, which will not blind my eyes, but allow me to see thy footsteps to follow. Safely I walk by your side. Mother, whisper softly to me, so I can remember that on all my paths, thou art eternally within me.
thank you, Fatah. And okay, we've got a yellow alert somewhere. Amber. Now we're going to have our dear sister Sally Jo tell us about upcoming gatherings.
Well, I guess somebody's alarmed about what I might talk about here. I don't know. There's nothing scary going on here at the hopefully nothing scary going on at Interfaith Community Sanctuary. We do have, however, many gatherings throughout the week, not just our wonderful Sunday service at 10 a.m. every Sunday. And next Sunday, it will be the Universal Worship Service with the Shirags offering that. And today, after the service, shortly after a little break, around 11:45, we gather for our monthly guiding council meeting, which is a very important time when we come together as a community and we discuss, the ups and downs and ins and outs of running this organization smoothly and making sure that everything happens that has to happen, and that the bills get paid and the grass gets mowed and all the good things that happen around here invisibly to most people all throughout the week. This is a hopping place during the week, and we have groups of people meeting here in person again, thankfully. We have groups meeting online on Zoom. We have celebrations happening this last week. We had a real, plethora of, there's tons of celebrations going on. We had our wonderful a memorial service for Reverend Karen. We had a program, the Night of Destiny, part of our Ramadan celebration on Friday evening. And oftentimes there are special events coming up. They're listed on our website, and you can always find them there with the Interfaith Community Sanctuary .org website, with the www and all that good stuff. Also, if you join our announcement circle, when you go on that website, you can click to join to get an announcements, and you'll get on every Monday morning a little email that says these are the upcoming events for this week and the classes and so on. And there are many, so I'm not going to go through them all because we want to get on with the service. But I do want to mention they range from group gatherings where, like the Sisiwas Medicine Circle for women that gathers on, I think it's Wednesday evenings. The reason I don't like to tell them all is because I don't have them all memorized. But they gather and they do healing circle. There is a Masnawi study group that meets 2 different days a week. There's a meditation group that meets on Thursday. We come and we sit in silence and meditate together. There's some groups meet monthly, like the Meister Eckhart Circle that's studying the sermons of Meister Eckhart. So whether you're interested in the more study group kind of circle where you discuss textual things, or whether you're interested in meditating, or whether you're interested in other spiritual traditions, there's a Buddhist group that offers, they're going to be offering a monthly retreat, 3-hour retreat on a Saturday coming up. They haven't chosen the date yet, but if you're interested in anything, take a look at the website, and you might find something that really splashes in your chest, as Jamal says, and helps you to come even closer, because we don't believe spirituality is just reserved for Sunday mornings. It's an important time, Sunday morning, but it's a launching for the rest of the week for us all. So please join us after the service. You can come down for coffee and tea, and then we'll have our meeting. All are welcome. And then after that, you'll have to check out the week for yourself, unless there's a special event coming up that I'm not mentioning. I think we finally got some of our special events behind us, and I don't know of any that are coming up right away. Okay. We do have some snacks and oh, good. Okay, that's a treat too. Wait. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, and thank you all. Now, and I forgot to mention it before, welcome to the folks out in live streaming land. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our dear speaker for this service, Avalon. And so I'm going to pass the baton to her.
Good morning. It's nice to see you all here. The topic is gratitude. And when I was thinking about it, I thought, everybody's thankful for some things, but gratitude also in the setting of how it leads into the life of service, and how you, when you really have an attitude in your heart of gratefulness and thankfulness, that the next breath, the next step is actually service to the community, service to others. So gratefulness in your character, if you think about it, if you know people that you know are grateful, we're not talking about ourselves right now, but if you know people who are grateful, aren't they fragrant? Aren't they sweet to be around? They're just happy that they're content. There's a contentment to those folks who have gratefulness in their character that is really inspiring and uplifting and non-demanding. So, however learned and qualified one is in one's work, if gratefulness is absent, then you kind of feel like, that's not as beautiful as it could be. There's a little lack of beauty somehow there. So if we answer every little deed of kindness that we get, and by learning this, we rise to the state to realize God's goodness toward us. For this, we can never be grateful enough for the divine compassion of God and everything that we're given. And the great Sufi poet, Saadi, taught gratefulness as being the means of attracting the favor of God. Yeah, that would be good. There's much in life we have to be grateful for, and Saadi says, the sun, the moon, the planets, the air, the water, and earth are all serving you, aiding life's purpose and preparing for your food. Yet you regard all this unthankfully, absorbed in your own little troubles, which are nothing, as before the great forces of nature always working day and night for you. So little actions of kindness that we receive from others, we can know what to be thankful for. Take a moment and think, what was the last kind thing that someone did for you? What was it that you actually said, oh, thank you for, and that you were deeply grateful for? It might have been even something as innocent as listening to a favorite song on the radio. It came at just the right time to open your heart. Or perhaps it was just the loving glance of a friend, or a card that came at a time to uplift a sadness in your heart. So if we can be, we have a choice to be grateful. And if we develop gratefulness in our nature, we begin to express it as a form of beauty for others to, it kind of becomes contagious. Let's let that gratitude spread. But as long as you weigh and measure and say, well, no, I did that for you. Now, what are you going to do for me? Or if I do this, will you do that? That's a trade-off. That's commerce. That's not gratitude, and that's not giving. So if one wastes time disputing over something which is inexpressible in words, then you close the fountain of beauty that rises through the spirit of your heart. And so if you have to dicker about who's kindest among your friends, or what you've received, and what's that scale of kindness? Is it 1 to 10? Okay, I'm only at a 5. Somebody wasn't very kind to me. But that's not a beautiful thing. That's not what the heart feeds on. So the more one can develop the attitude of gratitude, sorry about that rhyme, the more one begins to understand the world around one, because your insight deepens when you understand that if we're overwhelmed by our troubles, excuse me, and our disorder in our own life, we are robbed of the absorption that we can get from the knowledge of God in our life. So one lesson is to forget absolutely what we do for another. That is not easy, because if you're really going to be of service to someone, if your heart is full of gratitude and you find the time and the effort and the understanding to be able to give something to someone, we all want acknowledgement. We all want somebody to say, oh, yeah, okay. But try to forget that. Just do it. And try to remember what the other person has done for you, and forget about what you're doing for the other person. Get it done. Give it away from your heart's deepest space, but then forget it. And it just resonates on and on and on into the universe, bringing benefit after benefit back to you. So the food of which every soul is in need is the understanding and sympathy of another being. And that's really what we have to give to each other. So the greatest enemy, of course, is our ego, which manifests itself as selfishness. And we forget that we really in the midst of doing one's kind actions, you can sometimes find that selfishness at work. And it's a kind action, a thought of sympathy or generosity, is too precious to trade with. One should give, and while giving, close your eyes and open your heart. We should remember that every little action, every act of generosity with the whole heart, without the desire of getting anything in return or making a trade of it, the satisfaction must be in doing the deed or giving the good word or the thought and nothing else, just giving it away. But if there's not a feeling behind it, I mean, if it's an automatic thing, then it doesn't serve anybody, and certainly not you yourself. So if you have a feeling behind what you give, then when you say thank you, it's not just being polite. You really and truly and deeply are grateful. So that's kind of a mannerism or a fineness that is not very well understood these days. People learn the outward aspect of saying thank you. You know, that was nice, thanks a lot. But if there was feeling behind everything that we said, wouldn't life be a little more worth living? It would be a deeper way of relating to each other. So Saadi continues to say, praise be to Allah, the worship of whom is the means of drawing closer to him, and the giving of thanks to whom involves an increase of benefits. Every breath which is inhaled prolongs life, and when exhaled, it quickens the frame. In every breath, therefore, two blessings are contained, and for every blessing, a separate thanksgiving is due. Now that could keep us busy all day long, being grateful for the inhalation and the exhalation that just animates our body, that is that miracle and mystery of spirit as it comes into our being. And all of our life is served just by that single breath, inhaling and exhaling. So if we can be grateful on that very basic level, it develops gradually into, in the mystic, into a friendly tendency. And that leads to beneficence. And the beneficence is, again, thinking not of oneself, much less of oneself, and much more of others and what their needs might be. We can even arrive at the stage where we entirely forget ourselves and all that we do for others, only remembering what they do for us. So there are some few souls out there in the world who may not be recognized as such, but who live in reality as the saintliest of souls, in whatever guise they live. Their number is small, but they can be found everywhere. And those who do good to another, who render their services, who are kind, generous, loving, without any thought of appreciation or thanks, no thought of return. One awakens to the law of beneficence by being able to admire and appreciate, by sympathy, and by being grateful. So I thought while we are together, that we would take advantage of our breath while we're sitting together and do, I understand that you, how did you put it, that they're quite mad for the zikr? Didn't you? Yes? Okay.
Most people are familiar with zikr.
Okay, so we're going to do a zikr by using a phrase that means grateful. It's ash-shakur. And I'll read you a couple of definitions that I found that are really resonant and beautiful. The most grateful, the most appreciative, the rewarder of good works. Ash-shakur. And that's S-H-A-K-U-R with a lovely mark over the U. The one who is most thankful for righteousness and bestows great rewards for good deeds. The one who gratefully gives large rewards, even for a small amount of good work. The one who acknowledges and bountifully rewards all acts of goodness, thankfulness, and praise. The one who frequently and greatly approves, rewards, and forgives. That's the one that we want to cultivate. So we're going to do a zikr, And we will be saying the word Ya Shakur as we do the head motion for the zikr. And then as you bring the head down, it would be Allah into the heart center, and then Hu as the head comes up from the zikr, from the motion of the zikr. And so you are the one, Allah, the one being. You are opening the horizon of your heart. You are sweeping across your heart and up into the cosmos. Gratefulness. You are grateful to be alive. You're grateful that for this moment in time. You're grateful for the body that is animated by your breath and everything material that you've been given in your life. You know, you hear people say the phrase, oh, you know, that's a first world problem. I really hate to hear that, because that means that you're comparing yourself to the suffering of others in other parts of the world. So be grateful for what we have in a very honest and open way, that we are in a privileged society here in this country, and others are not so fortunate. So when you make that sweep with your head drawn across your heart, you are grateful for everything that you have. And as you say Allah into the heart, you open the horizon of your heart to the being, to the one being of God. And on the word Hu, that is kind of the background sound of the universe. That is the resonance. Who would not be heard or understood in this world unless it came through a living being. So when you say it, it is the one being rising from your heart onto your breath and saying who. Okay? Is that confusing enough? Mm-hmm.
Would you give an example of
Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. So zikr means remembrance of the name of God. And so sometimes one uses one of the 99 blessed names of the one being, of Allah. And sometimes one uses a phrase, La ilaha illallah, which is, there is no God but God. So in this way, we are opening to gratefulness instead of denying it. And we're bringing into our heart, as the head comes down, we're bringing into our heart the rhythm and the resonance of Allah, as wide as you can open your loving heart. Let the stage of the heart be filled with the being of God. And then as you bring the head up with Hu, your gratefulness comes into this world. You are animating the world with your gratitude. So we'll just do it 11 times, and I'll keep the count. You can just do as you will, and you can experiment with what you say. I always encourage people to make a joyful noise when they do their practices, because guess who's listening? Your heart and the one being. So we'll go. Ya Shakur, Allah. 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 Ya Shakur. Shakur. Allah. Hu. Ya Shakur. Allah. Hu. Once more. Ya Shakur. Allah. Hu. Then keeping your eyes closed, just try to feel the resonance in your heart. And as you breathe in, being grateful for that ability to have an inhalation, breathe in the word Shakur, the grateful one, the one who is grateful. And exhale, Allahu, where the heart and as the gratefulness comes through the heart of being, on the exhalation, it also enters the world on the word hu. So on the inhalation, Shakur, and on the exhalation, Allahu. Once more. And now, keeping your eyes closed, try to feel the resonance of gratefulness, of good deed, of good thought, of good word in service that you've created with the sound that you have made, and that resonates in the depth of your heart. In all the cells and molecules are now resonant with that sound. And take a moment to see, how does this walk around in your life? How would being grateful change the way you interact at the grocery store? How would it change your family life? How would it change the kindness that you give to yourself without judgment or disparagement? How does gratefulness come to you, come through you, and into the world? So we'll just have a couple of moments of silence. You can think of all of that. In the words of Inayat Khan, the land of immortality seems so far from us, but when the sun of knowledge arises, we see that it is near, so near. Once one knows that, one need not be taught morals or virtue. One knows what is best for one. One knows that if one creates hideous spirits in one's thoughts, they will become monsters, which will work against one. But if one creates the spirit of love and kindness, others will help one in one's need, and one will always be surrounded by love and kindness. Once people realize this, their life becomes different. They become the healers of their fellow beings. They sympathize with the trouble of another. They serve in the difficulty of another. They seek to know if they cannot do something, cannot help in some way. A word may help. A thought of kindness and sympathy will help. Whatever they do to others, they do to themselves, because every thought of kindness or goodness or sympathy has generated a world of sympathy around it. And such persons cannot be without it. Even if they go to a land where no one knows them or understands them, they can still attract sympathy and love if they have created that within themselves. And just ending with this thought addressed to ourselves. My thoughtful self, bear all and do nothing. Hear all and say nothing. Give all and take nothing. Serve all and be nothing. Amen. Thank you very much for listening.
First off, thank you, Avalon. That was wonderful. We've come to the part in our service where we need to discuss practicalities. Not that there wasn't anything practical in Avalon's talk, but this is the point at which we, make a plea for walking the spiritual path, whatever your spiritual path is, whatever your discipline is, that we walk that path with practical feet. And what I mean by that is it's twofold, actually. The first part is financially. We need to keep the lights on. We need to keep the heat on. There's other, various aspects of things that we do to keep this building as wonderful and as pristine as we do that require cash. And so there's several ways that people can contribute. Here, we're going to pass a plate around. Well, it's a bowl around, and those who wish can, give cash, although we will accept precious metals and jewels if you have them. Also, another thing you can do is you may have noticed when you come in, there's I always forget what those things are called. A QR code. Thank you so much. I'm old. There's a QR code. You can flash your phone on it, and it's another way that you can contribute. And for those at home, you can go to the Interfaith Community Sanctuary website, and you can donate from there. Now, I also said that there's a twofold aspect to our generosity. So not only do we ask for, contributions of a monetary nature, we also ask for contributions of time for those who are so moved. This place is run on volunteers. We have no paid clergy. So anything that gets done, we have to do it. And so there's many ways to volunteer here at, here at the sanctuary. And you can approach Jamal or Sally Joe or George, or myself or Fatah, if you have an idea for something that you might like to do, and we'll see what we can do to hook you up. Oh, yes, or you can come to the council meeting. Thank you, Sally Joe, which will be after the service today ends and the true spiritual work begins downstairs over coffee, tea, and food. It's interesting. The Sikhs have a practice. If you ever go to a Sikh temple, a Gurdwara, they always throw a feed afterwards, and it's a wonderful practice. More gets done over that table than at any other time. So you're welcome to that, and come down, enjoy fellowship, enjoy the food and drink, and afterwards, on the first Sunday of each month, we have a guiding council meeting. The requirement to attend is just that you show up. And this is a time, too, we discuss what our needs are and so forth. And if the Spirit so moves you, you can volunteer for something. Okay, that being said, at this point, we say goodbye to our friends out in the live streaming world. And then we enter into something that we call sharing of the hearts.